dollars a month. That'll be higher than our electric, cable, any utility we have. And quite frankly, it's absurd. Y'all have got a water water pump system, and there's a tree in front of it from a car hitting it about a month ago. But y'all wouldn't know that because y'all don't ever check any of this stuff. And I'm kind of fed up with the lack of quality. I don't drink the water. It tastes horrible. I'll drink bottled water any day of the week. That's all I got to say, really.
Thank you, Mr. Fernandez. Any questions from the parties? Commissioners? Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Hernandez, could
There
you
you
give us the approximate location of that water pump that was hit?
It's on Beach Creek Road, right off of Old Chapin, maybe less than a quarter of a mile.
And would you be willing to tell the company representative about it before you leave, just so they can check it, see if we can get it repaired?
Nothing is wrong with the pump
All right.
itself. There's just a tree blocking the entrance for the
Blocking the entrance
Yes.
way to what?
for a truck to
Okay.
dump
All
it
right.
or
So
whatever.
it's just a maintenance issue?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Next we have Sylvia Weiss, followed by Ashley Faust and James Bell on deck. James Bell on deck, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Sylvia Weiss. I have an opposite problem of what everyone else in here has. I do not live in Irmo. I live in Northeast Columbia off of Hart Scrabble and Farrow Road in Farrowwood subdivision. It's an older subdivision with older houses. They built new houses in between those houses. The houses range from 1,000 to 1,250 square feet. This is not an extravagant neighborhood. It's not the poorest neighborhood either, but it's not an extravagant neighborhood. I have a family of 3. We have had to cut costs just to afford the water bill. And I've been having this problem for a high water bill for about 4 years now. When I first moved into the subdivision, it was just me. My water bill was about $30. When I had my daughter, my water bill went to $35. She got a bath 2-3 times a day until I went back to work. When I got married, our water bill started increasing to $50, $60. 2016, we started noticing it going to 70-something. 2017, it jumped from 80 to 90s. 2018 to 2019, our water bill is in the hundreds of dollars. We've checked the meters ourselves. The readings Blue Granite's been getting, what we're getting, they differ. I don't quite understand. January 11th, they said that they checked our meter. The meter read was different. From January 11th, they checked that it was 825,950. That was the number. We checked it on January the 29th, which was yesterday. It's only a difference of 300. But yet they're saying that we use around 200 gallons of water per day. That's almost impossible. We've had 3 plumbers have come to check our house in the past 3 years. We have no leaks. We don't water our grass. That's apparent. Our grass gets watered when it rains. Our grass have died. Our house needs to be power washed. We haven't done that in 2 years because of the water. We've had to give up cable just to pay the water bill, so we had to get something called Mike TV. We don't wash our cars at home. I've started taking 2 to 3 loads of laundry to the laundromat just to see what the difference in the water bill would be. It's still high. I'm losing more money by having to go to the laundromat to pay for those washers when I have a low efficiency washer at home. Running the dishwasher, my dishwasher is practically brand new. I've used it a total of 6 times and I've been in the house for 18 years. We started taking 5-minute showers. We have a timer. We're taking 5-minute showers. We cannot drink the water. We buy water. My daughter has eczema. We had to buy a filter to put on her shower just to improve her skin and just to wash hair. If I wash my hair, I go in her bathroom. I've been having this problem going back and forth. November, I got a water bill for $791.22. I was told it was for November and December. I refused to pay it. When I called, the customer service rep was nasty. Oh, yes, you're going to pay it. You use the water and that's what you're going to do. No, I'm not. Can you send someone out to check it? Going back and forth, back and forth. They have checked it, no leaks. No one has read our meter in 8 months. Our camera is right on the meter. We've reviewed it. They said someone came on January 11th at 3 o'clock. We didn't see anybody. We went back to 12 o'clock, 12 to 8 p.m., nobody. We've seen cars passing by. We know those people. They live in the neighborhood. Kids were playing in front of it. Not unless they gave one of the kids something to check. We didn't see it. Our camera also has night vision. So I don't know how it's being checked, how it's being read. But for 223 gallons of water per day, I don't know what we have to do. We can't do that. Brushing our teeth. Cut the water on, wet your toothbrush, brush your teeth, cut it on right quick, take a switch, and cut it off. Cooking. I can't cook with the water. If I cook rice, I have to let the water boil first. Then I put the rice in the pot.
Thank you, Ms. Rice. I
Ms.
appreciate
Price,
Vice.
may I ask you a question? Have you been in contact with the Office of Regulatory Staff? There's a gentleman in the back at the door.
I don't know. Is the office regulatory staff?
Yes, ma'am.
Irmo? Because I don't live in
No, they're here tonight. And so would you talk with him on your way out? He can help you look into this matter.
Office regulatory?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Raise your hand for us. He's right behind you.
Thank you.
And he'd like to help you. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you,
ma'am.
Ms.
Any
Vice.
questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Next we have Ashley Faust, followed by James Bell and Frankie Delp. Ashley Faust, James Bell, Frankie Delp.
I do. My name's James Bell. I actually can answer your question from earlier. I own two homes. One is in Spring Lake subdivision with Blue Granite Water Service. If I don't turn on the faucet, it's $85 a month. My other home is with City of Columbia, where I've been spending most of my time, and the last water bill was $54, water and sewer. So, yes, those are water and sewer at one if I don't touch the water. In fact, consumption was 72 gallons over the holidays I was gone. So, but several people had mentioned chain of ownership of now Blue Granite, previously Carolina Water Service, and I'd looked into this before. Carolina Water Service, or Blue Granite, they're a subsidiary, or were, of Utilities, Inc., and then, as someone else had mentioned, then Utilities, Inc. was owned by Corex Utilities, and they're also owned by the company up in British Columbia, the Investment Management Corporation. They pride themselves on their earnings. They say they've outperformed all of the benchmarks for for the corporations of similar profits. They have assets under management that have gone from $121.9 billion in 2016 to $153.4 billion in 2019. So I'd like you to consider their $30 billion increase in the last 2 years in their assets under management before granting them a way to generate more assets out of all of the people here who are trying to get by on fixed incomes. That's pretty much all I had to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Any questions from the parties? Commissioners, any questions? Thank you very much for being here.
We have Frankie Delp. Frankie Delp, Karen Cadell, Vanessa Torres. Karen Cadell and Vanessa Torres.
You affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name.
Karen Cadell. I wasn't going to talk, so I don't have papers, so I have to use my phone. Sorry. I don't really have anything to add that you haven't heard over and over about the company, the expense, the fixed income, quality of service. But their pollution history for the river is pretty amazing. What they did for so long, and then when finally the riverkeeper sued them for violation of the Federal Clean Water Act, that went on for 6 years. So for 6 years, they tried to weasel out of their responsibility for dumping sewage into the Saluda River. And then they wanted the ratepayers to pay for their legal fees. And y'all were okay with that. But I think the ORS reeled you in on that. So they gained a lot of money during that time. When Judge Seymour fined them, she talked about, there was a name to it, and along the lines of economic benefit or something, but she took a 4-year period in like the 20 years that they had the pollution history, and she gave it a figure, and that was the money that they gained by not doing what they were supposed to do to keep from polluting. So for 20 years, they did that. So if you took that one increment and multiply it out, they made a ton of money by not doing what they were supposed to do, and then struggled against owning their negligence. And then they just pass it on to the ratepayers over and over and over. So at some point, enough is enough. And people are right when they say that people are going to move away. You just kind of have to cut your losses. But here's the thing, y'all are supposed to be watching out for us. Your mission statement is to serve the public of South Carolina by providing open and effective regulation and education of the state's public utilities through consistent administration of the law and regulatory process. So I'd like for you to do that.
Thank you, ma'am. Questions for Ms. Cadell?
And 10.7% for their shareholders?
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions from commissioners? Thank you, Ms. Cadell.
Vanessa Torres, Pat Witt, M. Kim Parker. Pat Witt or M. Kim Parker. Christina Brundage. Okay.
We'll let you do it.
I'm sorry, I'm a little slow.
So you affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name.
Hi, my name is Patricia Witt, and I live in Friarsgate. I have lived there for 20 years. I moved down from the Chicago area on prompting from my sister, because I was getting too old to shovel snow. And I just retired this past year after working 55 years for the department. Well, I retired from the Department of Health and Environmental Control. But I got to tell you, I work like a dog for 50 years for everything that I have. And although I've been very fortunate, more so than some people financially, I just want to mention a few things to you. In my subdivision, there are a lot of old senior citizens like me, people that live by themselves, one income. I'm lucky. I get 4 pensions, so I'm a lot luckier than some people. I did speak last week. What I want to say to Blue Granite is, please be fair to all people. Please be fair. Misorganization on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part. I've lived in my home 20 years. The houses around me have turned over 8 times. Can you imagine that? Looking out your window and seeing your neighbors have moved 8 times for a menagerie of reasons. But most recently, it's been because of these increases. But Friars Gate is one of the communities that do have the smaller homes that have a lot of single people and retired people, widows and things in there. And I just ask that you be fair to all people and take that into consideration, that you have to make a priority of what you're going to pay each month. I just happened this week to get an increase in my car insurance, my mortgage insurance, and I had another one, but I forgot my glasses here. Car insurance and my property tax. So in 1 week, I got 3 increases in the mail. And of course, I'm near 70, so I'm thinking to myself, I'm getting a little overwhelmed thinking, what am I going to have to do? Am I going to have to move after 20 years because these utilities are just out of sight? But please, please listen to people and please help and do something. And I spoke at the council meeting last week. The people don't want to be raped by a utility company. And I don't mean that in a nasty way. I'm just trying to get a point across. There has to be something done. Something at the top. There's a lot of smart people at Blue Granite. Please come up with some brainstorm. Please come up and figure out how you can help us, how you can go around to make this bill more reasonable for a lot of people. And I do thank you folks for coming tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Witt.
Oh, thank you.
Any questions from the parties? Commissioners? Ms. Witt, thank you very much.
Kim Parker, Christina Brundage, you're on deck with Michelle Carpenter up next. Michelle Carpenter.
Do you affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Please state your name.
My name is Kim Parker, and I'm here on behalf of my 84-year-old mother. Mr. Lawhorn referenced her when he spoke earlier. She lives on Regency Drive, Murray Landing. In 2011, her sewer bill was $39. Her water bill was $23.36. 2020, her sewer bill is $65.08. Her water bill is $25.81. We have no choice. She has to have the sewer. I can have her flush the toilet once a week. We don't water her grass. She bathes in the sink more often than she washes in her tub. She rarely washes clothes. I don't know where else to get the money from. Her 1.6% Social Security increase for 2020 is not a help. So we're appealing to you to please consider the fact that there are fixed incomes. You know all the figures, and that's all I really need to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parker. Hang on. Any questions from the parties, commissioners? Thank you very
I have the
much.
bills to document.
Thank you, ma'am.
Christina Brundage, Michelle Carpenter, and Keith Sims. Michelle Carpenter and Keith
Do you
Sims.
affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I will, I do.
Please state your name.
Christina Brundage. Okay. So, admittedly, I have only lived in Irmo for 2 months. I got married to my husband in November, and I moved here from Lexington. We bought our 1,500 square foot house back in March of last year. I adore our home. It's beautiful. One of our dream starter homes. However, we would have never bought our home if we would have known about Blue Granite. It's just the kind of company we're having to deal with. We're a young couple. We're just getting started with our lives. $65.08 plus a $1.99 processing fee for my card was already outrageous. Now we're going to have to pay over $100 a month. That's just absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, again, we're just starting with our lives. We eventually want to start a family, and we have to pay over $100 for sewer. I know people have said it before, but we are 2 people who work full-time. we leave the house around 6 o'clock in the morning and we get home at around 6 o'clock in the evening. And this is Monday through Friday. How is it that we are paying so much for sewage? Not only do I say no to the increase, I say start billing us on usage because, again, we shouldn't be paying this much. On the subject of blue granite, there was an interesting article published just a couple of days ago by the Post and Courier. They're warning us to, part of this increase is for rebranding costs and office expenses such as flowers, a 65-inch flat-screen TV, and Chamber of Commerce dues. In my opinion, with everything that they've been doing, it comes back to a probably very familiar quote to many people: you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. And that is it. That's what I got.
Thank you, Ms. Brundage. Questions from the parties? Mr. Bateman.
Ms. Brundage, I have one quick question. You mentioned the kind of company you're having to deal with. Are you just referencing the rates, or can you expound upon that a bit?
Yes, I'm just talking about the rates.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Ms. Brundage, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
One quick. You mentioned a $1.99 processing fee.
Yes.
Okay, tell me how you're paying your bill.
I pay it by card.
Okay, online?
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yeah.
they charge you $1.99?
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Brundage.
Michelle Carpenter, Keith Sims, and Spencer Brundage on deck.
Yes. I'm Michelle Carpenter. I live in Old Friars Gate. I've been here, my family has been here since 1983. I graduated from Irmo in 1989, joined the military in 1990. I retired back here in 2011 and bought my house. And now I just got really nervous. I appreciate y'all coming. We got a letter writing thing started to get y'all to come, and we appreciate y'all coming. I don't know if y'all are aware of their billing, how they bill people. When people move out of houses that are in New Friars Gate or any other place, I suppose, this came about 2 years ago. There was about 50 people not paying, and they didn't know it, and we didn't know it, and it came about, and I think it's been fixed now. But how can you raise our rates if you don't know who you're billing? If you don't, on your list of billers, don't you know when somebody moves out, you're not billing them? I don't get it. Y'all need to look at that, because how can you raise my bill if there's two houses and then somebody's moved out or somebody's moved in and they're not paying because you're not checking it? I don't understand it. And that's about all I got.
Thank you, Ms. Carpenter. Questions from the parties? Mr. Bateman.
Ms. Carpenter, just one quick clarifying question. So you're saying there were 50 people living there, about 50 people living there, but not being billed? Is that what you're saying?
That's why they weren't paying. Right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Hang on one. Commissioner Belzer.
Ms. Carpenter, I just want to zero in on that too. Tell me the time frame when that was happening, when it was discovered. Do you recall?
About 2-3 years ago, I guess.
Okay, in your subdivision again?
It was in my subdivision. Mm-hmm.
Tell me your subdivision.
Oh, I'm sorry. New Friars Gate.
New Friars Gate.
And my mom lives in Old Friars Gate, and she doesn't even pay blue granite. She uses City of Columbia, and I pay City of Columbia water. It's just bizarre.
And
Sorry.
no, I'm trying to think. My question just went out of my head. But thank you for being here, and thank you for that testimony.
We appreciate y'all coming.
Thank you, Ms. Carpenter.
Keith Sims, Spencer Brundage, Nicole Arzu.
Do you affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Thank you. Hello, my name is Keith Sims. I reside in the Sylvan Street area of the Dutchman Shores community outside of Chapin. In the summer of 2016, we moved from less than a mile down the road from Lakeshore Drive to Sylvan Street. At Lakeshore Drive, we had City of Columbia water. Of course, now we have blue granite water. On Lakeshore Drive, we had a pool and 4 occupants. Our water bill averaged about $20 to $25 a month. After the move to Sylvan Street, I shed the pool and 1 daughter So now with a smaller house, no pool, and 3 occupants, my water bill averages about $90 a month. That's an increase of 268%. It's the same water. That's today. Now Blue Granite Water wants another increase of upwards towards 50%. That's got to beg the question, why would a company charge 250% more than another company for the same water? Bad management? Bad business model? Too small to compete, possibly? Investor greed? I think the answer is simply because they can. Why? Because they have no competition. We, the customer, cannot go buy water anywhere else, and I believe Blue Granite Water is taking advantage of that. This brings us to you, our Public Service Commission. We are laying this proposal squarely at your feet. It's our hope that you make this right. You are our only recourse. On your website, you have a mission statement. That mission statement has a stated list of goals. Goal number 2 says this: seek to ensure that within a more competitive utility environment, that core or captive customers with little market power are not unduly burdened with the cost of competition and are provided appropriate service and service options. I'd like to paraphrase that goal tonight in the context of this hearing. Seek to ensure that amid this request for an absurd rate increase, that citizens like myself and everybody else in this room that are held hostage and have no other options available are protected by you, the Public Service Commissioners, from the company Blue Granite Water and their unfair and outrageous business practices. So I'm urging you tonight, be the oversight that is so desperately needed in this situation. Uphold your goal and protect the consumer and the citizens that you serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sims. Any questions from the parties? Commissioners? Thank you very much.
Spencer Brundage, Nicole Arzu, Andrew May. Any of those 3 who are still here, please take the podium.
Good evening, sir. Do you affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yep, I do. Yeah, I'm Andrew May. Wanted to state a couple of things. One being I've worked within and around utilities on both coasts. We moved here in July and are loving it, but having discovered our utility bills, in particular, the one that we get for sewer, living here in Irmo, we live in New Friars Gate, we are heavily, heavily considering not even living in a city that we've otherwise come to very much enjoy. I've got a young family. We are looking for our home to be our home for a very long time, and both with what City of Columbia charges for water outside of the City of Columbia, as well as what we're getting from Blue Granite, especially given the horror stories I've been getting from neighbors and the folks here tonight. It's something that we I think it's going to put in line with what you've heard echoed elsewhere in terms of real estate, what it's going to do to this town if this increase comes through. It's going to continue. I hear over and over again the attitude that I've seen, frankly, from the inside, from utilities, again, in my professional experience, which I prefer not to get into too much detail on, but the attitude that I see over and over again endemic in utilities is, well, we can always just soak the ratepayers. When you have a government-sponsored monopoly like utility is, it is such a delicate position. It's not something where you have free market competition and we can't simply go, well, I'm going to go with somebody that's going to provide me better service and or a better price. And they need to be held accountable for their pollution, for their malfeasance, for all the other things that have been detailed here tonight. Or you're going to see young families like mine who moved to South Carolina for better opportunity, a place where we could more easily afford to live. If we're going to be making those choices long term of where we want to be, if this continues, it's certainly not going to be in any area that they service. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. May. Any questions from the parties? Commissioners? Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Melinda Weeks, Rosemary Spell, and Timothy Hartley.
testimony you about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
State your name.
Melinda Weeks. Thank you. I've lived in Irmo for about 25 years. I've been in my house, raised my 2 children, and went through a divorce. I live on my own. I'm a dental hygienist. There's lots of people that come in our dental practice, and if we tried to raise fees on our fillings or crowns, like they're raising their fees on our sewage that we have to have, there's no choice, no option. How would y'all? I don't think you would buy the crown or the filling. I don't think you'd get your teeth cleaned. My point is, I'm doing about 4 things right now. My kids have moved out. I live in my home by myself. I need a roommate. I'm an adult, 50 years old with a good income. It's ridiculous that they can charge what they can charge, and we don't have options. We don't have a choice. You just got to pay it because they'll cut your sewer off. It costs more to flush your toilet than to get clean drinking water. That is ridiculous. When I first had my house, I think our sewer was about $30-some a month back in 1994. Then I remember going up to 40-something, 50-something, to 60-something. And now they're wanting to, 40% increase? Who gets that kind of increase? I can't go to my boss and ask for that. Where's the money come from? How do we pay it? I'm working 4 jobs right now. I get up early in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, to go sit at someone's house because they're a nurse. They have to be at the hospital at 7 o'clock till their ex-husband can come pick up their kids for school. When they pick their kid up for school, then I get to go to work. And I work till 5 or 6 o'clock. My job is Monday through Thursday at my dental office. I work Fridays also at a periodontist office to get extra money. That's not my regular job. I already work 4 10-hour days, Monday through Thursday. I'm trying to sell Scentsy now, trying to make extra money. Anybody want any? But, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And I would hope that y'all would not approve this. It is obscene. Obscene.
Thank you, Ms. Weeks. Hang on, let me see if there are any questions. Any questions? Thank you.
Rosemary Spell, Timothy Hartley, Olivia Felder. Rosemary Spell, Timothy Hartley, and Olivia Felder.
My name is Rosemary Spell. I've lived in Raintree Acres since 1974. So I have seen my increase considerably. Now, what they're trying to offer now is just ridiculous. I'm a single mother with a special needs child. I'm not there during the day. He goes to Babcock Center. I leave there, go to Chapin, take care of my elderly parents. So the only time I'm home is in the afternoon. In Raintree Acres, when I first moved out there, we had our fire hydrants worked. Now, none of the fire hydrants work. They're painted black and silver. We had a house burned down about 6 years ago because there was no water there. Just last summer, they came in, they tore up my front yard all the way down the side and up the back, and I was there at 70 years old having to go out there and work in there and try to get it looking right. After I asked the guys that were standing there to please correct it. Oh, yes, ma'am, we'll do it. Soon as I went to go check on my parents, I come back, they're gone. So, and now they want to increase it again. I'm at the point where I'm about ready to move. I have land up in Chapin with my parents. I have a septic tank, and I have a well. So, the only reason I'm staying here is because I love Irmo. But at this rate, I'm about ready to move. And please just take in consideration us elderly people that are on fixed incomes. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Spell,
Commissioner,
this is the second fire hydrant case we've heard about tonight. Could you tell us again what the street address is where the hydrants are no longer working?
Well, I live in Raintree Acres on Beechwood Lane. There's a fire hydrant on the corner of Beechwood Road. You go up to the top of the hill. I'm not sure what name of that street is, but there's another hydrant right there. There's two of them up there that are both, they can just go through the whole neighborhood. Every one of them is not working.
Would you be willing to talk with a company representative about it before you leave so they can get better directions and so forth?
I'll be more than glad to.
They're over here. If you just get up with them before you leave. Thank you.
thank you, ma'am. Okay, Mr. Bachman.
Timothy Hartley, Olivia Felder, and Arthur McLean. Timothy Hartley, Olivia Felder, and Arthur McLean.
You affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir. Timothy Hartley. Good evening. I'm the HOA president for the Village of Lake Murray. I'm representing 84 units and then that unit in that community. We, in our community, we have 84 units and we have a pump station. We pay $65.08 for each unit to Blue Granite. But what we do, all our sewage goes to our pump station, and our pump station pumps it up to the main road. We could take care of all our drainage and everything. We take care of that all ourselves. Our community is trying to understand why are we paying this rate to Blue Granite for everything that for the rates. Because anytime there's a sewer problem in there, we have to take care of it ourselves. Because everything we do, we just put $30,000 in pumps into a lift station. Blue Granite didn't do that. We did. The HOA had to pay $30,000 for 2 brand new pumps in our lift station. But we still pay them $65.08 every month. And then they want to increase our rates to $100, which is going to be for 84 units. A yearly cost for those 84 units is over $100,000. And we live right next door to the treatment plant, which is 500 yards from us, which don't make no sense to us. We control our own sewer pipes and everything in our community. So we're just trying to understand why the rate increase is coming to us in this rate. That's all we have.
Thank you, Mr. Hartley.
Yes, sir.
Any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Belser.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
This pump station, the y'all own it, the
Yes.
HOA,
Yes, sir.
the property owners,
Yes, sir.
and when y'all have to repair it, and you're responsible for getting the sewer through that pump station up to,
To the road, to the main road. Yes, ma'am.
and whose line is that? Is that
That's, everything up to the main road is ours. We
Okay.
take care of all that, all the repairs and everything. All the sewer pipes is all belong to the HOA.
and then when it gets up to the road, it gets in the
Becomes
blue granite line,
And it's 500 yards to the.
and there's a
sewage plant.
treatment. They're treating it. It's not a pass through that it's going to Columbia or somewhere else.
Right.
I'm not sure where this is located.
It's right next. We're right next to the treatment plant.
No, but I mean, I'm not sure where Village at Lake Murray.
We're right on Highway 6.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Hartley? Thank you, sir.
Olivia Felder and Arthur McLean.
Do you affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Good evening. I am Olivia Felder, and I'm representing my neighborhood with special emphasis on my home, located at 543 North Royal Tower Drive. Since 2002, we have addressed issues of Rawls Creek and 2 manholes in my yard. I have communicated with the Corps of Engineers, Richland County,
Lexington County, and the Ombudsman's Office, to no avail. I've contacted Carolina Waters. I contacted Blue Granite. Nothing. Several weeks ago at a council meeting, I was present and heard Attorney Moore address the issue of the same identical thing that I have tried to reach out to get help, the sewer overflow into Rose Creek. Why did it have to take that long? Why did we have to come before you, our commission? If they can generate bills, they can maintain their equipment and carry out the proper protocols and making sure that sewer did not flow, that I did not have the stench of the raw sewer from the creek and the manholes coming into my house, backing up my lines. I was sitting here at council meeting, and when I went home, I had my yard striped. So I contacted the mayor, and I says, is it necessary that companies have right-of-ways and easements to come onto your property and to do whatever they want? Who are they? I don't know. I'm just representing Blue Granite, is what we were told. 6 o'clock in the morning, right after Attorney Moore addressed the issue of the raw sewer, I hear all of these trucks in front of my house catching the sewer. But I didn't have it because Mr. Denton, the president, was here, and he claimed he had no knowledge of it. Well, since I have to pay them, I think it's time for them to pay me for the untruths that they have told and the dilapidated infrastructure, and I'm sorry, and I have photos. Since they didn't know, not only are the trucks, every time it rains, in the manholes pumping it out all day long, going up and down the road. I got home, my yard is dug up 2 weeks ago. Where is respect? Where is the respect? You want your money, you want to plug up the holes. I had a hole in my front yard. I'm not the location for your company. I'm not going to do it. So now I have 2 stoppers. They dug my yard up, and the president denied knowing that any work was being done in that subdivision. Sewer overflowing out of the manholes. Why are you plugging something up? Let's get it right. Now, there are many grants for the infrastructure of your equipment. I am a grants writer. And if I need to come and help you, instead of putting the burden on our residents and on me for what you are doing and trying to get a raise, it's time for you to get it right. We don't need to have the commission to have to sit here and babysit what your due diligent duties are to the citizens in maintaining your equipment. I don't need sewer running. I don't need to have my water cut off because of the mixture of the sewer. The commissioners can't resolve that. I'd rather do like I was on a farm. We had septic tanks, and I paid to have my tank pumped out. You can get all of your equipment out of my yard, but I will not be subjected to paying you coming in without right-of-ways of easements and just taking over the community.
Thank you, Ms. Felder. I appreciate
you.
appreciate your testimony. I need. Are there questions of Ms. Felder?
Just briefly, Ms. Felder.
Mr. Moore.
What's your address?
543 North Royal Tower Drive.
Are the manholes in the backyard or front yard?
It's one in the front and one in the back.
All right. You know Mr. Whit Klein here, right? Public Works of Town of Irmo?
No, I don't.
Okay, this is Mr. Klein. Anytime you got a problem that you can't get Blue Granite to respond to, you call the Town of Irmo, 781-7050. You talk to Mr. Whit Klein, we'll help you. Okay?
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. McLean, did you speak Monday night?
I did.
Okay, well, you can only speak at one night hearing. You can't speak again tonight, so we appreciate you being here, but
I just had one.
I'm sorry. It's that's the rules.
Certainly.
And
All
I
right, thank you very
appreciate
much,
it. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, that concludes this evening's roster.
We want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Thank you for telling us your thoughts, and we appreciate it. And we are adjourned.